Hello, my beautiful friends. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. This is Gaurri A Kadam. The guest on my channel today is a super achiever and a role model to many. It is truly my honor to share and hold space for such an exceptional human being. Please welcome Ritam Bhatnagar. Ritam was 21 when he founded India Film Project in 2011 and went on to becoming the world's largest filmmaking challenge with 36,000 participants in 2019 under Ritam's vision. Featured by Forbes recently, Ritam has been a TEDx speaker and guest speaker at various forums about content, events, startups, and IPs, as well as MBA colleges talking about marketing, films, and entrepreneurship. He is a mentor and consultant for a few media startups and previously a columnist in DNA. He has been World Economic Forum's chosen global shaper in the past. When not at work, he's found between his love for Legos, Hot Wheels, and drones. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome the founder of India Film Project, Ritam Bhatnagar. My team was a part of India Film Project last year. So we were having a production call yesterday. They and me, we both were like, I wish we could do this in person with him because they are so inspired by you and the work that you do. But due to the situation, we're not able to. But I did tell them that, you know what, send me that video because it's on their YouTube. I was like, send it to me. I'll share it with him again.
So glad to hear that, and please send. I would have, in all good probabilities, I would have seen that. I make it a point to watch all 1800, 1900 films that come at IFP, no matter how good, bad, whatever language it is. But I made it a point in last 10 years that I don't miss a single film, don't miss a single track or a script that comes at IFP. So films, I'm so excited the moment they start uploading them on next 15, 20, 30 days, I just start watching on a 2-3 hour window. Every day I start watching some films together. So I'm super excited to see if there's some good story which has come out, something which is very relatable. So that hunt keeps me going for a couple of days after this. So I remember every year September mid or September 4th week is when the 50-hour challenge ends. And then till I think November by Diwali, I usually complete watching all the films. So that has been a norm and a tradition for me now.
So you start in September and you finish by Diwali?
Yeah, because I have to watch 1800 films. So every day I usually take out 1.5, 2 hours to watch, probably somewhere around 20 films a day. The same goes with tracks, all the music tracks. So this year we had somewhere around 1200 music tracks that were created at IFP. So what I did was I put all those songs in my pen drive, put it in my car. Whenever I used to commute between home and office, I used to start playing those songs. So that's how I started getting used to the idea of what people were creating, because it's very important for me to also see what is being created. First edition we just did 86 films. So 86 films I watched in 3 days, and and 86 films, these are 5-7 minute films. So initially it didn't feel like a task, and then as and when the content kept on increasing to a point that now we have somewhere around 25,000 minutes of content being made. It becomes a task for me to allocate that time, but it still gets me to the thoughts of what audiences are doing, thinking about what are their tastes, what as general and in general people have thoughts about. So I think that helps me a lot build for the next year.
Since we've started the interview, I'm going to ask you my first question. I read this on your website on the Journey So Far page, and it was so beautiful and so profound. I have to quote you here. Creation is an everyday process. Every day people work in order to bring their content into existence, and every person is a creator. We at India Film Project aim to discover these creators, value and showcase their creation for the world to see. First of all, that line itself is so loaded and so profound. Could you please enlighten me and the viewers on what the journey has been in creating this magnificent platform known as the India Film Project?
From that line, there is something that I have to add. This entire thought started a couple of years back. The first initial few years are usually rush. You just want to do something, you want to build something, and you find that whatever you're building is working. So you just want to keep on growing. But there comes a point wherein you suddenly break and you say, what have I been doing and why have I been doing? Like, what is the larger purpose of me creating this platform? And 4-month-long loop of searching inside within what exactly I wanted to create and why we were creating it. So I realized that, humans were always different from other species and are till date different from other species because we could create at the end, every species that we know can create their food, but we could create fire, we could create wheels, and then we could create our own shelters, we could create across, and that's how we probably progressed while a lot of other species couldn't, right? So the process of creation is very human thing. Like, that's something probably after God created universe, the next thing that happened was humans created world of themselves. And this process has been the inevitable thing that has been happening across. Initially, and this is probably a couple of centuries ago, everyone was creating. Either they were creating their own food, they were building forts, they were building pyramids, they were doing something or the other. To a point, we came in where most of us became consumers instead of creators, right? So to a point, if I have to quote it in the way how media works, say in early 2000, there were 120 crore people who were watching films and television, but probably just few 5,000 people who were creating content for them. Limited filmmakers, limited people who were labeled as filmmakers, limited people in television, limited channels who were creating things, and hence a lot of stories were probably not relatable, right? So just imagine 5,000 people creating for 120 crore people. It sounds like a very skewed ratio. The moment we democratized it and everyone started creating content, now you see today in India, there are at least somewhere around 20-25 lakh creators creating for 130 crore people. So now it looks balanced. The more people create, the more relatable stories are going to come out of this, because people are going to pick up life instances and share across, which is something that connects you and audience. So for me, it's always been about celebrating the art of creation. We love the world of technology because every day there is some new creation that is happening. We love the world of art because every day there is something new which is getting created and that gets loved, and that's how the world moves ahead. So art, technology, art and science are two places where continuously creations need to happen for the world to move ahead. So technology is very sorted. The art part was not very sorted. So I think now it has become a much more better space for people to start creating. For me also, the journey for of India Film Project was in a very similar domain. The initial days were more about just building a platform for creators that could bring them together. They could network and they could probably make a film over a weekend. And we thought, why always work with your production team, find out new people to work across, meet new people over a weekend and create new content with these new people with whom probably you might not have any other professional relationship later, but just a weekend of meeting new people, creating content, and then probably if it hits you across, go out and create something new out of it. So I think it started with a very small, easy nemesis that let people create something over a weekend. This was also the time that the entire creation boom was happening, 2011 to 2021. The highest content that has been created in the history of this universe would have been last 10 years. Everyone is trying to create something new, either in audio format or in video format or in writing or through painting or through fashion blogs and beauty vlogs and so many things that are happening across. And people feel that they are now empowered that they can do something new, which is good. So India Film Project started with the same thing. While we were growing, this entire creation economy was also booming, and a lot of people who were traditionally looking to become engineers or doctors. And I'll tell you, 2011 when we started the festival, people still thought filmmaking was a hobby, and only a delighted few used to call themselves filmmakers whose parents used to give them a DSLR. So they had a good 30, 40, 50,000 ka DSLR at home, which was in gift, and they were in the engineering. So they thought post engineering, I am not going to get a placement. I have a camera. I want to become a filmmaker. And that was just probably 10% of total participants that we saw. Versus now, people are very well defined. In fact, people know exactly what they stand for, and even they've got their own diversification. So there are people who are not just filmmakers. There are people who come to me and say, I am a underwater documentary filmmaker. So up to such a point that he says that I only shoot underwater, I only shoot documentary. So people have boxed themselves in such a nice way into this field. Just imagine 10 years back, people didn't consider this as a profession, and now people have started putting this across. So I think my journey and this entire journey of creator economy going hand in hand for last 10 years has been that way a very fulfilling one for us and for the creators, both of them. It's been good to see that we created a festival which was very different in terms of how it was shaped. So unlike, initial few days, as a festival, we had identity crisis. So people used to call us a film festival. We are not a film festival. And before IFP, I was part of a film festival for 2 years. So I know what film festivals are. And I've seen right from sponsorships to programming to operation to selling tickets to, I've seen all of that. I've done all of that for 2.5 years. So I knew what exactly film festivals are. It became very difficult for me to even go out to them and tell them that we are not a film festival. Like, to put that into context. But I think over the last couple of years now, since we evolved, we started calling ourselves a content festival. We said we don't want to get boxed. We don't want to be a festival that celebrates only a film. We don't want to be a festival that only celebrates a musician or only a storyteller. We want to be a festival that celebrates any form of creation. Anyone who wants to press that red record button on a mobile phone, to anyone who picks up the pen to write, to anyone who types the first paragraph or first line of a poem or a story that they want for the world to hear or probably want to tweet it across, or anyone who presses the record button on a mic to record a story. This is a platform for all of them. I think the journey from getting people together to create to now a journey that celebrates any form of creation, that's what the last 10 years have been for India Film Project and my journey with it.
This is so, number one, it's so inspiring just to hear the entire thing. I know you have like really summed the entire journey of 10 years in a quick format for all of us, but it's so inspiring just hearing that. And while you were saying, because I have been a part of a film festival for the past 7 years, I have done multiple film festivals, so I understand what a film festival is like, and it just brought back a lot of my flashbacks as well when you were talking about it. So thank you so much for sharing such a beautiful journey, and again, like inspiring me. Just listening to it was so inspiring me and the viewers and the filmmakers out there. Following to the point, moving on to the next question. On the same page in the paragraph below, it says that India Film Project began with a 50-hour filmmaking challenge, one of a kind in Asia, wherein 35,000 filmmakers came together on a selected weekend to put their best efforts to shoot, edit, and present their films. Now, this reminded me of my initial days when I started off as a filmmaker, because I was a part of 1 minute, 2 minute, going up to 10 and 20, and we had a time limit of 24 hours, 48 hours, and 70 hours, depending on the length of the project that we had to shoot. And these were, like you said, just friends coming together, challenging one another, making a couple of teams and being like, you know what, these teams have to go here. This is the theme that you need to work with, and just create. So I know the kind of challenge, pressure, intensity that goes into it. And being a producer, I know that working on a budget is easier as compared to when you have zero budget. Like we as filmmakers are just chipping in money. There's someone saying that I'll take care of food, I'll take care of costumes, I'll take care of the equipment. Don't worry about it. So it's like all of us coming together to create something. So I know the curiosity, the excitement, the joy of just coming together and creating this. And then at the end, we all get to shoot, like just watch what we all have shot. So it's so inspiring, just that it feels like we have been put through a tunnel and then we come out feeling inspired and very aligned with moving forward. And it's just one weekend. We do it over a weekend, and it's just like, just working with your juices, creative juices, and then you run the week ahead. So it feels very inspired. So my question to you is that what was your inspiration when you came up with this 50-hour filmmaking challenge? And after you did the 50-hour filmmaking challenge, when you received the influx of data, the films coming your way, what was the process of that? Like, how did you go through that?
So the first time I thought about it, and time-bound challenges have been a common idea. Like time-bound filmmaking challenges are part of almost every film school. People go through them. So the first time I thought about this entire time-bound challenge thing happening, the thought behind it was very simple. It was how do I get filmmakers to meet new set of filmmakers, writers, editors, cinematographers, and work together. And the situation was very different in 2011. 2011 was still a time when people were not as much welcome to any kind of industry, media industry, as how much they are right now. It was difficult to break into an industry back then. So people were always looking at combining forces with different creators who are like-minded. So the idea was very simple. Come on a weekend, meet like-minded creators, make a team with them. We'll give you a theme, go out and execute a project with them, which can be a 4 to 8 minute short film. Whatever you make, it doesn't matter. It's a great film or it's a bad film. And I tell people, and exactly how you said, it's for the thrill of it that we are trying to do it, right? The thrill is something which is very contagious. So I have teams which have participated in India Film Project 50-hour filmmaking challenge for 8 years in a row. And they tell me that the only thing that keeps them going is the thrill. Like it's so crazy when people don't get to sleep for a weekend. They barely manage to get food. Suddenly there's a conflict in the team. Someone throws the camera and the camera breaks away. Suddenly the battery burst. The rain started coming when they had to shoot the outdoor shot. The team split because of creative differences. So crazy things happen at all the time, and the thrill that you have to still pull up your socks and deliver a project before a time. It sounds very easy, but it's not an easy thing. For someone who's inside that, they are under a lot of casual pressure to deliver it at some time. So for us, when we started getting the films for the very first year, I remember the theme was called Small Things in Life, and the idea was to probably just look at small nuanced things and celebrate them. And I was expecting a lot of student film to come out of it. Until date, I still think a lot of time that in 50 hours probably you can't make a award-winning film. You can only barely make a film that is just good enough to be presented to a small set of jury. So the first time the films came across, and I was sitting in the jury screening with the juries, and I think after a couple of films, suddenly there's one of the jury members who says that I want to take a break, and he says, such good films have come in, how am I going to take a decision? And these were just 86 films that had come in the first year. And he, I think, barely watched. And I was happy because I came from a film festival side. So I had already always seen those juries who used to watch each film and then criticize it. And they were like, the festival needs better film. You should get films which are path-breaking. Suddenly the jury here tells me, how can they even do it in a weekend? How is it even possible? The jury had 5 days to decide on the winner. And on the 5th day, they were still inconclusive because they had to pick 10 films out of 86 films as a winner. And they had 31 films that they had shortlisted. So out of 31, they couldn't go to 10. And I was happy because they were probably spoiled for choices in the kind of content that came in. And in the subsequent years that started following, we saw a lot of films being made at India Film Project, which went to international film festivals, competed with films from different countries, which were made on a longer timeline of 3 to 6 months, probably made on a budget of $500K to $1 million. And these films were made in 50 hours by a bunch of people spending something out of their own pocket to make across. And still these films going out and winning them. For me, that kept on reaffirming the entire belief that time probably to an extent doesn't matter so much. The initial days when we were just planning the entire 50-hour filmmaking challenge, we still thought we might get a lot of student content out of it. But the films that we have seen right now, we are so excited that we took those films not only to film festivals across the world, and they won at more than 120 film festivals by now, but we have our own show on television now. So we have a show on MTV that comes up every Sunday evening where we just show the best films from India Film Project. And I've seen that graph, the kind of content that has come in. And of recent, especially last 4 years since we started getting more professionals into the filmmaking challenge, the kind of films that have started coming in, they are getting even more exciting. So the professional category at IFP, it's so competitive by now. Even people with 10, 15 years of experience find it difficult to compete because the kind of content that is coming out is another level, and people literally put the best of teams, they put the best of energies in writing, they put the best of energies in production, and I don't know what kind of monies they put in making these films, but they're so beautifully looking films. You can go to IFP's YouTube channel and check the winning films out. They might not feel as if they were films made over a weekend. They might not feel as if they were a film made by a crew which was having a crunch over time. Not feel as stories that were written by a time-deprived writer, but they are still beautiful concepts coming in. So out of good 12,000 films that we have, I think there would be at least 3,000 plus short films which are conceptually so different and so unique that those are stories that have never been told in mainstream. So for me, I think that is exciting, and that's what keeps me on the edge to to watch all the films that come at the festival. When I watch all of them, I get to see the kind of efforts that people are putting, and it's something that I can't do. So honestly, if I was a participant, I couldn't have delivered something like this, which is like, so their energy level is so contagious that it keeps us going.
So I can see that even how passionate you're speaking about it. I know it's not easy to watch 80 films or, as many as participants sending you the content. It's not easy because I've been a part of projects like these, and it gets overwhelming after a point. But the fact that you're still going, it's so inspiring just to hear that, the entire journey. I was reading your bio and I was reading all the set of accomplishments that you have achieved so far, and kudos to you for achieving all those accomplishments. Really, it's very nice, very inspiring to see that one of us has done this and has accomplished this state for himself. My question to you is, out of all the accomplishment, which according to you is your biggest accomplishment on your journey so far?
Personally, I think for me, accomplishments again get divided into two different parts, personal and professional. So for me, a professional accomplishment would be the festival keeps on happening each year, and every year we do something new that makes us more proud. So every year, I think the accomplishment becomes the previous year. So for example, this year, my accomplishment is that in spite of having COVID at its peak during last September, October, we could still pull off a festival virtually, which had more than 33,000 people coming in. So for me, probably right now, that's an accomplishment professionally. Probably this year again, things might not open up and we might put up a virtual festival, which will have even more number of people coming from more than 50, 60 countries. So probably that would become an accomplishment for me. So I think that would keep on changing. I do find smaller victories in the entire path. And something that I've been doing specifically at IFP is that I've been looking after the entire sales by myself. We are not a government or a state or an organization funded festival, which means for the festival to happen each year, we need to go out and get our own sponsorships across. And that for me is the larger purpose, because everything else will fall in place, the team will take care of it, but something that needs to be done for sure is to have sponsorship to be able to even put this entire huge store at Mehboob Studios, right? For me, the first victory came in, I think in 2014, when we were still small. This was still a festival which was based out of Ahmedabad. We were still growing back then. We got a 3-year title sponsorship deal from Axis Bank. And I was so happy that a national brand for the first time was believing in a concept which was still not proven, because sponsorships are usually a very difficult deal. When you are putting up a festival and your requirements run into tens of lakhs, you also are looking for sponsors who are going to fulfill that. And the more bigger the festival is, the lesser brands who can spend that much to accommodate. So every year for us, say for example, a challenge is that the bigger we grow, the more funding we require for the festival, and the lesser number of brands who can actually accommodate that kind of funding. So my small win was when Axis Bank gave us a 3-year deal, and that was for the first time I said someone probably outside my larger circle believed in me and said, you are doing a commendable job and I think we want to associate with what you are doing, and here's a 3-year deal. So for me, that was probably the first small personal achievement that I felt in IFP's journey and my contribution to the festival at large. 2016, I managed to get Nestle, and that was a big thing because Nestle is one of the largest FMCG brands, and they coming on board to sponsoring was a thing for us. 2017, I managed to get Unilever, so I was like, wow, this is growing good. 2018, I managed to get Procter & Gamble. So for me, the journey has been identifying and getting right kind of brands who have supported us at IFP. 2019 we got Diageo, we got Flipkart, Myntra, and 2020 we got OnePlus, convincing them to sponsor a festival, that too in India, which they have not done earlier. So those are small wins, but for me, I think if I have to see, those are achievements in two ways. One, getting a validation from brands who put faith in you, who believe you, which is a big thing, and it's probably as big of a validation as much as we get when we see 50-60,000 people participating each year, and those people registering and paying to participate, which is something that reaffirms us that we are doing something good, which is probably at least solving someone's larger motive. The same way when a brand comes in, it also gives the same kind of validation that we are doing something good, which is solving someone's larger motive at the end. So for us, I think those kind of things at the end for me are professional achievements. Festival is like every year it's gonna grow. So every time it grows, the last festival becomes the milestone for me, and I'm the most happiest thing. So 2019 when we moved the festival to Mehboob Studio, and it was a huge thing, good 19,000 people attending the festival, another 46,000 people participating across the challenges. So people were like, wow, how did you put up this big a show? And not just the festival, but getting 45,000 people to participate across the challenges is a big thing. You are asking them to spend hundreds of hours in making film, in making those songs, in writing those scripts, in spoken word. They are putting their time and energy just to win something, which is great. 2020, we came in and suddenly from 45,000, we had 62,000 people participating last year. And from 19,000 attendees, we had 33,000 attendees. Suddenly numbers went up and we were not prepared for them. So my team was not prepared. I remember August mid, we realized that more people are participating than what we anticipated. And the first crisis we had was to get more team members, more new people inside the team. So I called up every possible ex-employee and ex-intern. I said, can you join us for next 2 months? Because we have got more number of people participating. So we have got our own internal challenges now. We don't have resources to handle so many people, so many calls, so many emails, so many queries. When we executed that festival, and this is a time when 2020, almost every festival got cancelled. So every festival called themselves off, almost every big festival. And my team came to me in June and they said, sir, I think we should call it off. I don't think so, Ritam, we should be going ahead because the year is bad. People might not want to participate. People might not want to celebrate. And then, of course, the logistical challenges, because we know how to put up an on-ground festival. We don't know how the virtual thing happens. And I told my team, if we as youngsters, and my team's average age is 27. So I told them, if as people who are in their mid-20s, if we can't put a virtual festival, how do we expect any other festival which is usually run by people much more older than us to even pull it off? So probably take it up as a challenge, and 3 months later we built our completely own virtual platform. We replicated an on-ground experience to an extent that we had a menu wherein you could click on it, order food, and you get food delivered at your home while you are enjoying the festival. And everyone across India who's part of the festival, who's attending from India, can actually do that. So we made same food menus for everyone across India. So in a typical festival, people move inside the festival, they find food stalls and they also eat because they are there for 8-9 hours a day. So they need to keep themselves full. So he said, how can we replicate that? How can we make sure that people are meeting each other? So we introduced a chat wherein you could find people from your city or from any profession from across the world. You say, I want to meet an editor from France. So if there's an editor from France who's attending the festival, you can click on their profile, check their entire profile that they were making and chat with them. You won't believe, across 4-day long festival that we did, there were more than 1.2 million chat messages which were exchanged by these 33,000 people. And that's like 12 lakh messages which were being exchanged on the platform. So people were doing real-time collaboration. So the moment the festival ended, the biggest achievement, if you would have asked me on that day, was that festival. I felt, wow, we have just pull off something which was huge. And in these times when half of us were working from home, half of us were not sure about our health. We were not sure if people are going to buy tickets and come to the festival. We were not sure if the technology is going to support it. What if you get a keynote speaker and suddenly their internet goes off? What happens then? How are you going to manage so many people, etc., everything. And the moment we pulled it off, we were like, wow. So for me, I think the professional achievement keeps on changing. So this year, probably if you ask me in November, what is your professional achievement be, this year's festival will suddenly become, because we would have done something larger than what we did last year. The personal achievement would have been about rediscovering that at age of 29, 30, 31, I still have all those abilities that probably a 5-year-old kid has. So I have got, since last 4 years, I have got into making these Legos. I'll share those with them. And I'm making right now a Lego city. It's just opposite me. I don't know if I can show you. It's not well lit right now, but I'll show you my Lego city. It's on Instagram. So right now it's a city larger than a dining table currently, but I've run out of space. So the idea is to now get additional space to build this city. So I keep on ordering a lot of Legos. So I'm planning to make the largest Lego city in India in next 5 years. So currently it is 25 square feet. The idea is to make it somewhere around 450 square feet in next 4.5 5 years. So that's I learned how to balance between a hobby, and my profession, and I started finding time for myself as well. And I said, if profession is enabling my hobby, and probably that needs to continuously keep on happening. I cannot be just a person in my 40s realizing that my entire 30s I couldn't develop any of my hobbies. So I think that has been a kind of a thing. And that's what I think I spend my entire day at home. Whenever I am at home, once I'm back from office, my entire day is about what next, what is happening in the Lego world, how am I going to help people, what are the new designs people are making. I'll just show you this, something which is, so this is my own design that I made. It's a Ferris wheel. It's a completely operated Ferris wheel. So now I am redesigning this on a computer and selling this design online. So anyone who wants to buy it can buy it. So this is a Ferris wheel that I made from different Lego parts that I had. Fortunately, it's lying here because currently it's getting designed. So I have to pick each block and redesign it on a AutoCAD software. And then I can sell those designs. So anyone, or probably donate those designs. So anyone who wants to make something like this is my own design, customized design. So they can go to my link and download them and start making itself. So that's what I have been doing personally. So I think for me that personal achievement part comes from this space. The professional achievement part keeps on moving much more month to month.
I'm speechless just hearing the entire journey of what your achievements, like what do you think your achievements have been like? But also one thing that I've realized after having this conversation with you, and I definitely feel like this is very uplifting even for the viewers who are watching this, that if you want to be in that creative mind space, keep creating, keep
Right.
constantly creating, because the minute you stop, and I have, this is me as a creator as well, the minute I stop and the minute I start slacking, it's hard to get back. It's like working out. The minute you take that 1 week break, then when you go back to, working out on Monday, you're like, you know what, today I'll take a break, I'll go tomorrow, and that tomorrow never comes. So it's like constantly being on that wheel, constantly keep creating, even if it's as small as writing. If you just feel like today I don't want to do something as big as, picking up the camera, shooting something or editing something, then just pick up the pen and start writing. Even when I'm talking to my clients, I'm after a meditation, when I tell them, it's like, listen, after you're done meditating, don't go on and switch on the TV or get onto your phone or talk to people. Take a journal and just start automatically writing whatever you feel. Just write it, because you're in the purest form at that time. Write your thoughts, journal your thoughts, because that will truly help you release anything, any blockages that you're holding on to.
Absolutely. So, this used to happen a lot. A lot of people, a lot of friends around me used to tell me that, you yourself aren't a creator. And whatever experience that I have with films has always been on the producing side, as an EP, as a distributor, or running a film festival. So I never was on the creative side of it. So a lot of people who come to me and say, since you've never been on the creative side, how do you manage to probably understand the creator psyche? Why are you the best person to even run a festival that is about celebrating creators? Because you're not a creator, you don't understand them. So I usually tell them the same thing. I say that creation doesn't mean that I have to be a filmmaker necessarily, or a photographer, or probably a technology enthusiast to understand how this entire thing works. Creation doesn't end just in those spaces. For example, for me, I am a creator who makes Lego, and I have bricks and I can actually make anything out of it. Right now I made a Ferris wheel. Next weekend ka plan is to make a rocket out of it. So probably I'll put my brain behind it, and the moment I get into that zone of creating, it's just 4 days of creating. I am not focusing on what I'm going to eat. I don't know if my lunch is lying next to me, because I'm just finding that right part which I need to join to make it look good aesthetically, to make it functional. So once you go into that zone, you know how it feels to be even creating something. So last year, one of the good things was that while I was in lockdown, and because there was this parallel thought going on that you have never created, so how do you create? So how do you feel as a creator? How can you run a creators community? So I started with something that has been a childhood hobby of painting. So I was always into drawings and paintings. Used to love them when most of the boys in my class used to hate them. Boys were like, let's go out, play basketball. I was like, no, I'll still attend the drawing lecture. So I started creating this
I saw
mandalas.
that. That is so beautiful.
And I started creating stuff which was painted. So I started, and this was on a daily basis. And this is with no proper training. This is just from Instagram, picking up random things, having a couple of pens. This is something that I love. This is a drone shot that I had taken and then I converted it into a painting.
Wow.
So I've been creating all these things now. So probably that keeps on, see, so my mom was throwing away this orange peels. I picked up those orange peels and made paintings within them. So I said, Mom, don't throw them away. I'll dry them into a sun and I'll do something around it. So I created these paintings. So I've been doing those kind of things now. So probably to an extent, I've started feeling what a creator feels. I still can't replace or become a filmmaker at this. And probably I don't think so if that even excites me. But I create in some way or the other.
Definitely resonates, and it's so inspiring, and not just for me but also for the viewers who are watching this. Like today when someone says that I don't have the right opportunity or I don't have the right resources, I mean, then you're not going to the right places, because you have the right opportunity, you have the resources out there, but you're just not tapping in. So tap in, move towards, move in the path that you want to go towards, be it a writer, be it a filmmaker, be it a producer, makeup artist, hair artist, costume artist, or just working on the post part of the filmmaking, whatever it is that you want to do, be it painting, singing, dancing, whatever. There are opportunities out there, but it's all up to us to tap in. Like you said, you used the lockdown in such a creative manner. Like you did not let, of course, the situation outside has been extremely challenging. Everyone, including me, you have been hit by it. But then what do you do after that? Do you sit there and then you feel the fear that is going on around you, because there's a lot of fear, the energy of fear that is all around us, or we use that opportunity and work and create something of its own. Like for me, the lockdown 2020 has all been about getting my business up, using that time to create a website, work on multiple other things, packages that I want to work on, and so many other things. So it's just been like, for me, I use 2020 in that manner. You use 2020 in a very profound manner. And again, we are now again hit by this lockdown. You are again doing so many things, and me as well here. Of course, it is challenging, but then how can you keep yourself active, not busy? Because busy is not, if you're always busy, then you don't have time out for yourself. But when you're active, you're using your mind in the most productive manner. So keeping yourself active is what I feel like you're doing.
For me, productive has been a word. Like, I don't know if that's a disorder, but the moment I feel that I am just sitting idle, being non-productive to myself, somehow I just get a lot of anxiety. So being unproductive suddenly gives me kind of, and especially so weekends is something that I don't like weekends, because weekends are about being unproductive. So if someone tells me just sit across, hold a mobile phone and do nothing, I don't know what to feel like. Like it feels very weird. I don't want to read a book and I don't want to be a productive, I don't have anything productive to do. And suddenly I'm in a very off space. So I can't just watch web series back to back continuously, because I feel I'm just wasting my time. So then I started finding out things across everything. So my smartphone has some apps that don't let me feel unproductive. So I start making out notes and start writing things. Being productive, I think, is exactly the thing. So being busy and being productive are two different things.
I want to ask you this other question. On this journey that you have been on, what has been your biggest fear and how have you made it now a strength? And also, what has been the biggest lesson you've learned so far?
My biggest fear would be taking time to trust people, to trust that someone else can also do things the way you can. I'll tell you where it also germinates from. So as a kid, I was 2 years old when I got the first PC. And that was the first computer in the entire city. So I remember the mayor and the municipal commissioner, they used to come to my house just to see how computer looks. And I'm talking about 1990. When I was in 6th standard, I learned programming in Visual Basic. So I made my first computer program. When I was in 8th standard, I started editing videos. So by the time I was out of my college, I probably understood that I could do a lot of things. So I knew how to design, I knew how to plan things, I knew how to code a website. In the first few years at IFP, I was the one who used to code the website. I was the one who used to do all the designing. I was the one who wrote all the content which was needed. I was one who was also looking after sponsorships, after communication, after emails, everything that used to. And there were interns and of course full-time who were helping me across. When we started growing, which is somewhere around the 5th year of the festival, when we started growing the team, when we thought now we are established enough that we can probably pay salaries for more people. So we started getting new people inside. But because I had been in this habit of doing things myself and being a person who was constantly being a one-man army, the idea that someone else could do that work in almost the same kind of a quality that I was delivering and in the same amount of time and still deliver, that never fit my mind. And it took me good amount of time to probably adjust and understand that I need to start trusting people that when they have been hired, they will deliver their 100%. And I need to hire right kind of people who are also giving me that kind of assurance. So I think that assurance between trust, that took a good amount of time for me to come. I think very honestly, I wasted a couple of years and I made a couple of mistakes. I used to just not trust people with tasks that I could do better than them. So I thought if I can do this in 20 minutes and I give it to someone who is going to take 40 minutes, and even after 40 minutes, I don't have assurance if they are going to do it as good as me, then why should I be giving it to them? So probably instead of working 8 hours, I might work 12 hours and do that. So I started doing that to myself. So I came to a point wherein I started developing health issues because I was spending 12, 13, 14 hours in office, just doing things across and not delegating them. The overcoming majorly happened when couple of people understood this, that I had this kind of a challenge, and they started giving me assurances. So they picked up things. They said, okay, give it to me. Give me 2 days. I'll come back to you. We have always been very quality conscious as a festival. So I think that has been the biggest fear for me and a challenge that I've overcome.
So would you also say then that's been your biggest lesson? Trusting people?
There are actually 2 lessons that I've learned across. The first lesson is, of course, that you need to trust people when you are in a team. The second lesson is that it's always great to have plans, huge plans, and it's always great to have those dreamy things that entrepreneurs are usually into. Next 3 years I'll grow 100%, 5 years I'll grow 500%, everything. People will suddenly have those huge growth plans, and which is great, which actually is very inspiring to see that people are having so much confidence in themselves that they are able to plan things in advance. And some enterprising people, just probably hearing their plans inspires me. Something that I learned very keenly was that plans are great, but plans can only happen when you can sustain yourself in the current time. So if this year you are able to sustain yourself, your plan might happen probably 3 years later.
True. I mean, this resonates a lot with me because now I'm in the phase of hiring teams and working with teams. I have a crew that I'm working with. I have a social media manager. And I have outsourced a couple of people out of India. So I am in that phase where, now I'm ready to hire people and give them delegate that work where I can only focus on the creation aspect, and Baki ka admin and all the other technical things can be taken care of. And it resonates a lot because it's at the end of the day, you're giving away your baby. It's like, take care of it. Now I have done this much. Now you need to take care of it and keep working on that same pace, or make it even bigger and better with what you are contributing to it. So it definitely is challenging initially, but then it happens easily.
Absolutely. So it's like, I don't know if that would be a right analogy, but probably a lot of parents might be facing this when their baby goes to school for the first time. The entire idea that someone else is now also going to have control over their behavior or of how they become a better person is going to come from teachers, from friends that they're going to make across. Till now, that was much more in a safer zone. So everything was under control. Now you are giving it out to the world. So I think that is a kind of feeling that I have been through. Now it doesn't feel that way, but of course there was a time that it felt very strongly.
Because I remember whenever I'm having the interviews with fresh new crew members or team members, and I'm just like, I tell them one thing at the end of the interview, like if that person's the right fit for the work that I'm doing, I just tell them one thing: I'm giving my baby to you. You need to take care of it. You need to nourish it the way I nourish it. And then I explain the company's core values. I explain my core values. I explain what the vision is of the company. So that discussion happens, but at the end of the day, it's just like, listen, I'm giving my baby to you. You need to now take care of it and nourish it, and then, make it grow in your best capacity, because I trust you. That's why you're on my team.
I get that completely.
Moving on to the next question. India Film Project became international in 2015 and has shifted to Mumbai in 2016 with a 2-day content film festival, inclusive of workshops, conversations, and screening. Now, you did touch base a little bit on it in the conversation before, but could you please elaborate on how did you manage to put together initially a 2-day content film festival with the sources and the resources you had at the time?
The decision to move to Mumbai was a very, very abrupt one. 2015 that we were doing it in Ahmedabad, and we had the largest venue in Ahmedabad where we could fill in 2,500 people and do the festival. And 2016 was when, as I told you, we were looking for sponsors, and then Nestle came on board. So we thought we had some kind of funding which was available with us, and probably because we had some surplus funds than what we would have actually spent doing the festival in Ahmedabad, we thought. And this was also a lot of people who were telling us, saying that Ahmedabad was really an uncomfortable city for them to travel from Chennai, from Mysore, from Assam. People thought that each year, because they had to travel for the festival, it became difficult for them because they're not very well connected. So I thought, we had this corner thought कि हमारे को जाना तो है Bombay. How do we want to go there? When do we want to go there? Was not clear. So when this Nestle thing happened, and we realized that we were a month away from the festival, and I said, we had a team meeting on the Monday morning, and I asked my team, I said, do you think this is the right time for us to go to Bombay? And my team is like, we're just 4 weeks away. And in 4 weeks, how are we going to put the festival? Because till that time, we didn't have the festival part of it. We just had awards and people making film, and majorly the challenge was still the central part of it. So there was no festival wherein people could come on stage and have conversations and workshops and everything. So I said, see, the only thing that we need to do is, if we are going to Bombay and if we are probably going to pay so much for a venue and put it across, we don't need to just do the awards. We need to probably also have some kind of lineup in the day, some kind of conversations that need to be happening, something which is very much millennial centric, which is something that no one else is talking. So what are those things which are futuristic, which no one else is talking, that IFP as a young brand should be talking about? You won't believe, in next 10 days, we had the venue finalized, the dates finalized, we had the lineup almost finalized. 11th or 12th day we started with our ticketing and everything, so people could buy tickets. And the festival, the first edition that we did in Mumbai, which is 2016, we had good 7,000 or 8,000 people who came across. We never believed, because a year before that, 2,500 people was something that was making us happy. And we are so happy that there are 2,500 people. Just imagine so many people, and suddenly you are in a city which is becomes more accessible and is still the center of the creator-driven conversations. The number suddenly goes triple, and it was completely a leap of faith. To be very honest, if I have to take that decision today, I will never take that decision. I'll have a lot of calculations being done. But when you are in your mid-20s, you have those things that keep you up, and you just take a decision. You just don't think about the cons of it. You just look at the pros. You think, this is what I can do. This is what I wanted to do always. Let's just make it happen. The first year the festival happened and so many people came in. The second year became more of a challenge, because now we didn't want to appear as someone who just made it out of a fluke. Because first year we got so many people. We got the focus was a lot on digital conversation. So we got people from AIB and East India Comedy and TVF and Triplings premiering at the festival, and people from Y Films, a lot of people coming together, having this fun conversation. We thought we have become a place that is about a filmmaking challenge, and suddenly we are doing conversations which are about digital, which is very confusing. So what should we be doing to balance it out? So next year, when we came with the second edition of the festival in Mumbai, which is again a 2-day thing, and we moved the festival to Worli, we made sure that we were much more better prepared and evolved. So we said, as a festival, we want to talk about films, about literature, about music. So all 4 arenas that we want to cover this year across. And then we planned conversations 3 months in advance. We had the venue booked 6 months in advance. We told people, these are the dates. If you want to book your tickets, book in advance 6 months palace. If you want to book it, this is what is happening. And people appreciated it, because 2016 it just appeared as if it was a random act of moving to a larger city, and probably a city which was much more concentrated with the right kind of people you wanted to reach out to. So 2016 happened in a very chilled way, like how a young gathering is. But 2017 we had to tell and probably put out a message that we are actually a serious festival which looks at becoming one of the larger spaces in Mumbai. So we need to have conversations which are much more interesting, which are going to appeal to people. So that entire change that we brought in from 2016, just moving to Bombay and putting out a digital driven festival, to next 4 years evolving into a festival that has got everyone on stage. So right from people in films, right from every, name the actor, name the director, every popular YouTuber, people from music, people from literature, you name those people and they have been on IFP stage, and the sole purpose they come in and the sole purpose audience comes in is because we have just kept it very pure, very honest at the end. So till date, the idea is to have a festival which is which exactly delivers on what it believes in. So you will never see IFP ka photos in media. You will never see people coming ready and glammed because they are going to appear on the front page of Bombay Times. That's not what we want to do. We are saying we are a festival for creators, and it should just appeal to the creators. So if those 18-20,000 people who are attending the festival, or if those 40-50,000 people who are attending the challenges and participating, if they are happy, my job is done. Then I am not the one who's going to go out and do gaga about it at all. And it worked in our favor, because till date you wouldn't have seen a lot of advertisements, lot of media hype that we create. We don't invest a lot in newspaper ads and hoardings and digital ads. We just go out, say this is our lineup, and probably that does 90% work for us. Again, a good learning that has happened is we have been very honest to what we want to stand for. We haven't ever adulterated it. We have never gone out and said, because we want more people, let's get a more famous actor. We have never done that. And till date, my curation team knows that that's not how we work. But we'll say, okay, you know what? Adil Hussain has been doing great cinema, but this is something he delivered amazing this year. Let's get him. So they'll always chase those characters. They'll always chase those moments that are getting celebrated within the content. They'll say, okay, this person did amazing thing this year, or this is something larger that we should be talking about because no one is talking. So I remember 2017 as a festival, we said every conversation at IFP needs to have equal participation of both the genders. This was way before the gender conversation even came mainstream. So we said, if there are 4 people on stage, there need to be 2 females. As simple as that. If there's a male on stage, then the interview should be a female. If there's a female, then the interview should be a male. So how do we make sure that at any time we have that representation happening? 2018, we said, let's also have more diverse representation. So let's also have people from LGBTQ community being on the stage as well and getting a representation. Because if you get them on stage in 2018, people are going to probably watch their content in 2019. And probably in 2020 is when they are going to get more recognition out of it. So can we make that as a honest way of doing it? So I think for us, the festival evolved so naturally. And when I look in hindsight, I think it's more about the pure intentions that we had and we still have with the festival. We don't want to show off what we have been doing. We don't want to go out and create buzz. We don't want to become the talk of the town kind of a thing. That's the motive. Let's just have something that any creator who steps in at IFP doesn't go out disappointed. So that's the simple most motive of doing that.
Definitely, it feels that you got a very conscious and very honest approach towards moving forward, and it's really nice to hear that you're. It's like we all are equals. You're holding space for people. Whoever is a content creator, whoever is a part of creation in some way or the other. If you want a platform, then this is a platform for you. You can go and showcase the work that you've done, and it's just so beautiful to see that you're holding this space for these young creators from all walks of life. Thank you so much for doing that.
It's always a pleasure to hear when I and my team hear such things, because probably that's the only form of appreciation that comes on face. Most of the times the appreciation comes through those emails and DMs that we get, where we don't get to hear or visualize what the person would be saying. But there's sweet messages. A lot of people who write to us and tell us that I participated in the IFP's 4th edition. That is for the first time I made a film, and currently I am now studying in Paris, and I made my first film and it won 3 awards in festivals. And thank you so much, because I just participated out of curiosity of what filmmaking looks like, but see what you made out of it. For us, probably one of the greatest things that happened was the film that won the National Film Award last year, which was called Helaro. It's a Gujarati film which won across every category. So it was competing with Uri and a lot of films from across India, and it won the Best Film Award. And this entire team of Helaro, those people were the participants from the first and second edition of IFP. So they participated in the first 2 years, in very early days of IFP. They won at IFP across, and then they picked up filmmaking much more stronger as a profession. And 7 years later, they made a film which got national award. A lot of people. So I hear those kind of stories coming to us through emails. A lot of time, my community, someone who leads community at IFP, he comes to me and tells me, we didn't even know that, but this guy wrote this script, and then someone produced that script into a film, and this script is from our script writing challenge, and now this film has got more than 3 million views, and people are loving that film. So you should watch that film because it's made on a script that was written at IFP, and that gives us so much of pleasure just knowing those things are happening out in the world. At the end, if you go and ask my team what is the larger motive that they are serving, it is how are we empowering creators. That's the number one thing. So for us, the happiness is tied back to how many creators could we empower at the end of year. We can't measure it. We can't go to each one of them and ask them. But when they come to us and tell us that you have been doing something great and this probably played an important step in my life, I think that is when the entire team becomes happy. So it's like a complete circle for us then.
Yes, definitely. You're not just holding space, but you use the right word. You're empowering young minds from all walks of life that, you know what, if you have some time, give this a shot, see if you like it. If you like it, then keep doing more of this. If not, this will just be a beautiful experience for you. So it's a new experience that you're just adding in your bag. And if you like it, go ahead. If you don't like it, then it was beautiful being a part of this. And this will just somehow be a part of your journey moving forward. Like you could talk about it that, hey, I was a part of this batch.
Absolutely. Yes.
Moving on to the next question. Now, this is again, you touched base on this, that India Film Project is providing a chance for creators to interact and create branded content with leading national and international brands such as Coca-Cola, Nestle, Nissan, Godrej, Hotstar, PepsiCo, Axis Bank, and so on. My question to you after reading this is that, did you imagine the magnitude of what you were creating at the age of 21 sitting in that hostel room?
Not at all. I think even today I've been telling my team till date, every Monday morning meeting is, I've been just telling them that we don't know what we are doing right now is going to play an impact on how many people and on us even in next 5 years. Probably 5 years back, I didn't imagine that we would be doing a festival in Bombay. Suddenly we moved to Mumbai and we become one of the largest cultural hotspots for that city each year annually. Probably the idea is now to take this festival to different countries altogether. You never know what is next that we are going to do across. Definitely not at the age of 21, because us time pe the entire idea was to do something that's going to keep me busy also. So the imagination was pretty small. I thought if this works, in fact, there's a very interesting story. So the first time I did India Film Project, it was called Ahmedabad Film Project back then, 2011 when I started it. So it was always meant to be a one-time activity, which meant that I never thought I'm going to repeat this thing. So I thought this is a one-time activity that is being made because I saw a lot of creators not bridging that gap of meeting new creators and doing something together. Time-bound challenges are great. Let's get people on a weekend. Let's get them meeting new people. Let's give them a theme, ask them to make something out of it and see what kind of content comes in and then award them. So let's do it for the first time. And then I'll figure out a way, because I was still in a zone where I wanted to do something in the film festivals part. And I came with 2-3 years of experience of film festivals. So I thought of probably starting a online film festival or something. So those kind of thoughts which are going on. So I made this huge plan of going to different villages and starting a touring talkies. And I also did a pilot in May of 2011. So I went to close to more than 30 different villages across 45 days. So these all were villages between 2,000 to 4,000 people. So I used to show films for 10 rupee ka ticket. And I was doing a pilot, and then I thought if this works, probably I can start an entire touring talkies kind of a setup. So the idea was to start a touring talkies or make an online film festival or something in that space. And because Beach Mein I had these 3 months there where it was monsoon and I couldn't go out to show films in the villages. So I said, okay, since I have time, let me do something like this. And I had also seen this as a problem that a lot back then who were filmmakers, they used to make plans, never happening plans. of making a film. So they had written multiple scripts, did casting sessions, everything, but we never shot in those 1.5 years that I was staying with them. I thought, let's probably do India Film Project. The first year happened, some really nice films came in, but I never thought I'm going to do second year, because at back of the mind, I was still in this entire idea of doing the touring talkies, and I thought that is something which is huge. What if I can empower more than like villages of India through a mobile entertainment system, which can go to different villages every day and show them films for a nominal ticket. I remember I just had one intern back then and a small office. So we got a call on our landline, and this would be June of 2012. And this guy on the other hand who asks us saying that when is this year's Ahmedabad film project happening? And I didn't have a definite answer to him, because I never expected someone to ask us when is the next edition happening, because we never thought we wanted to do a next edition first of all. Even my intern tells me, sir, are we going to do a next edition? I said, I don't think so, because I am almost ready with my idea. I've got tempo. I've invested in this theater setup, and I've invested in this sound system, and I am really serious about doing this. And I think the future of India is in rural, so I want to do this right now. And she's like, but people are expecting, so shouldn't we give it a thought? And then it stayed in corner of my mind. And then a couple of days later, there was this Facebook message which comes in, and this person is inquiring what are the dates I want to book my tickets to Ahmedabad for this activity, because last year I couldn't participate, this year I want to. Then I got thinking, I was like, if people are so excited about participating, why am I being a fool if I'm not wanting to do it again? So that is when it got to me, and I started thinking of doing it the second year. And then next 15 days, we revamped the website, again started the forms. We reached out to Shujit Sarkar. He had recently delivered Vicky Donor as his first film, and we said, sir, can you be the jury member? And then we reached out to Vikram Aditya Motwane, who had just done Udaan back then, Rajesh Mapuskar, who did Ferrari Ki Savari, and we reached out to three of them and said, can you be the jury? And they said, yeah. So suddenly we had a national level filmmakers coming up as a jury. And then we said, okay, we know how to do the first edition, we know how to do the second edition. We got a better jury. We are going a little big on marketing, so we are going to use Facebook as a tool to get even more people excited. And from 86, suddenly we had close to 250 teams which came in. So we were almost like 3 times more teams coming into it to participating. With just 20% more efforts in marketing, the result is much higher. A more number of people who are wanting to participate. So more number of films which come in, which means higher quality of films that are going to start coming in. And then from first year, we had people from 19 cities. This second year, we had people from 42 cities who participated. So, and this was the time when it was compulsory for them to come to Ahmedabad to make a film. So if you wanted to participate, you had to be in the city. While I was 21, I don't think so I even thought about the second edition being done. Leave alone the 10th edition. Like the branded campaign that you are talking about. So this is somewhere around 2018 that we decided that since we have this huge talent pool of people who have been at IFP, who have been past participants, and that's now like a community, it's like a family for us now. And we had these brands like I told you, Nissan and Unilever and all of them who were sponsoring the festival. So we had access to these brands as well. And these brands were always looking for some good content. These people were the people who were making great content, but both of them together were never connected. These people were individuals. They couldn't have reached out to brands. The brands were never going to work with individuals. So what if we become that platform who was connecting both of them? So we started that as also a parallel revenue stream for us. That helped us put a lot of these people from the community into action with these brands working. So I specifically remember the first time we did a campaign that was with this guy who was from Lucknow, 19-year-old, making amazing content, and we worked with him for Nestle on one of the campaigns. And when I showed the film to the brand manager, he was like, who made it? So I told him, it's a 19-year-old guy from Lucknow who made it. He's like, I can't believe it, because this looks like a production which typically an agency does, and they charge us bomb for doing this. I can't believe this guy made the same film for a few thousand rupees. I'm showing him, see, this is the BTS, this is what he has created. And he couldn't believe, and then he suddenly tells me, we just did 5 films, this is the contract, let's do another 25 films. But if you have got these kind of people who are going to create this kind of content, you have just nailed it. And then that entire relationship with Nestle, which went on for making hundreds of pieces of other pieces of content, that started. So we found that we were at a very nice juncture where we could connect these people and their talent. These people didn't want to work with individuals because working with individuals is very hectic. They always prefer an agency. So we became that agency who was working with individuals. So we became that bridge, creating high quality user generated content. So that's what we went across. I think I've answered two things question together.
No, that's very beautiful. Like you've become that bridge connecting two powerhouses together, like content creators and then people who are looking for content. So you've merged those two powerhouses together very beautifully. That is so inspiring just hearing that. I wish when I was young I had a platform like India Film Project, or I was aware of a platform like this when I had initially started off as a filmmaker. So that is very beautiful. Thank you so much for doing that, not just for the young filmmakers out there, but also filmmakers who are in their later ages, who are, just sitting idle and now they just want to touch base on what filmmaking is. Because India Film Project, I don't think has a age gap. Anyone can apply for India Film Project.
So participation has been 4-year-old. Our eldest participant has been an 83-year-old. So we've got that entire spectrum covered.
Yeah. Anyone can apply to India Film Project. Anyone who has like a nick of excitement towards filmmaking can apply, or creation or writing or music. Anyone who feels like you want to be a part of something, a platform that just celebrates you, apply to India Film Project, send in your script, send in your music, film, whatever it is that you want to send in, please send in, because this is a platform that truly celebrates you and appreciates the work that you're doing, and you will not go unseen. That is something I can really vouch for after this conversation with you. Just two more questions, Ritam, and then I will let you go. Moving on to the next question. After having multiple conversations with you, I have understood that you are someone who is very conscious about the content that you put forward. And that resonates a lot with me. According to you, what is conscious and mindful content creation?
I think anything that adds value to someone's life, whatever you are creating, if it adds value to someone's life, even a single person's life, I think that's what I think is the perfect kind of content that needs to be created. So I honestly think that things need to be told in a logical way. If you keep on just creating content which is entertaining, it might help you in the initial few days. It might not help you in the long run, because however irrational people are, they always look for rationality, and that's how humans are designed. So you need to do things that probably speak to them at a much more deeper level. So for me, a good content or a conscious content is something that gets people thinking in an entertaining way. Even what happens at India Film Project each year is now the kind of films that we get are a larger representation of what is happening in the society. So the right kind of tonality also plays a lot of role. So you have to be very conscious that there is a communication which is the logical, rational communication that's happening in an entertaining manner, which is fine. So I think I have been always a champion of those kind of content pieces as well. Talking about things that at the end are going to add even 1% value in someone's life.
And it completely resonates with me. Today, because of the situation that we are in, we are just consuming content. It's like you're breathing, you're just consuming content, because that is the one thing that you can do, sit at home and just binge watch Netflix and the other OTT platforms out there. But at the end of the day, this is a conversation I have with my mentor always, because she talks about content as junk food and soul food. Are you having junk food, or are you having soul food? Is the content that you're watching nourishing your soul? Is it making you uplifted? Is it empowering you, or it's just depleting and draining your energy? And I, as a person, as a consumer who watches this content, I'm very conscious about the fact that if I watch this, because there is a write-up, there's a synopsis on every platform before you click on that. So I read that synopsis, I'm like, do I want to watch this? It's a very conscious thought that I put in. I'm like, do I really want to watch it? Do I want to feel like this? Do I want to, attract this energy or vibrate at this energy frequency? I choose to watch other things. I choose to watch uplifting things. I choose to watch things that really inspire me or just uplift me or empower me in some manner.
I think what's the intent behind the maker for making that content also makes a lot of difference. Because they genuinely believe they wanted to put it out, right? And that is where 5% content lies. So it is on us to identify what kind of content are we going to watch, and the intentions are like the first 30 seconds of the content. You open up, you start it, and you get to know what the intention of the maker is. Why did they want to do it? And that's how you decide. So for me, it's very easy to make that decision. If I think that intention is probably just to create sensation out of it, I don't think so that works for me. If the intention was generally to put out a good message using entertainment as a capsule, that's fine. I would want to consume that.
This is very profound. And then I want to leave it on a profound note by asking you the last question. What is your anchor and what keeps you going?
So, two things that keep me going. Now, this is very funny. In the past, it's nostalgia that keeps me going. I'm a very nostalgia-driven person at the end. So if you ask me what's my superpower, it's nostalgia. In the future, it's regrets that keep me going. I do everything that might not make me regret things in the future. So I take decisions based on two things. Is this something I'm going to do which I'll not regret, or if not doing this thing is something I'll regret in the future? If the answer is yes, then I'll do that thing. This is something that I wanted to do it in my past, but I couldn't do it, but now is the time to do it. If the answer is yes, then I'll do it. So for me, I keep on hanging between two different sources of time. For me, a lot of it is, for example, a lot of my personal accomplishments or a lot of my personal hobbies are based out of my nostalgia. Every time I pick up a toy brick and I play with it, every time I pick up my racket and go to play tennis, it's my nostalgia that comes into picture. It keeps me going across because I just feel I'm connecting with the younger self of mine, and I feel I should be doing that even 30 years later. It's okay. At the end, if you come to my home, it's full of toys, and people ask us, "कितने बच्चे हैं आपके घर पे?" And I tell them, the Big Basket delivery boy was asking in the morning, बोले यहाँ पे कोई बच्चा है जो I tell them, no बच्चा, I am the बच्चा. What I am going to do is based on an idea that 10 years down the line, will I regret not taking IFP International? I will. Will I regret not probably making a movie as a director? I won't. So I'll make my decisions based on something like this. So for me, I think that's what keeps me going. But I think that's how I have started making decisions in my life.
Definitely, it makes a lot of sense for me. Even as someone who has just started her own business, for me, it's if this opportunity has come my way, should I jump? Should I take that leap of faith, or should I let it pass by till I am ready? The so-called ready that we always put ourselves in that notion that I am not ready to do this right now. When I am ready, I will do it. There are so many reasons why I can list out as to why I'm not ready to take the plunge, but then there are so many other reasons why I feel like I can do it. If this opportunity has come my way, there must be a reason. So taking that plunge, jumping, making that leap of faith, and then it's like when you jump, you just like all hands on deck. Just jump, take that leap of faith, and do whatever it is that inspires you to do.
If you say that what keeps going, I think that's what keeps us going. We always just figments between the past and the future, and we are trying to do something new in the present. And our present cannot be solely dependent on what we feel today. A lot of it is dependent on the past. A lot of it is going to bank on the future. So you always jump on those things thinking that if you wouldn't have taken it, you would have regretted it. And that's how you start making a lot of decisions as well.
On that profound note, thank you. Thank you so much, Ritam, for being a part of this channel and for sharing all this wisdom. It's really been inspirational and eye-opening and learning for me having this conversation with you. And I'm sure it's the same for my viewers who will tap into it, tune into this video.
After a point, I was so much into conversation and I started thinking so many things that I've now made a lot of notes in my head, which I need to just write down as soon as this gets over.
Well, I'm glad I could be that platform for you. Thank you so much for inspiring me. Thank you so much for inspiring my viewers, and having this conversation definitely has left me again inspired to think forward कि अब मुझे क्या करना है? What do I want to do forward, moving forward with the work that I am doing? Because again, this is creation. We all are in it together, and it has definitely been very profound and very humbling having this chat with you.
Same here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning into today's episode. If you haven't already, then please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for more such conscious content coming your way. And until next time, have a blessed week ahead.